Welcome
Welcome
to Shade in the
Shade in the
City.
City.
I am your girl, Treese.
It's Nels.
And today we are jumping into our review of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's not waste no time. I don't know what's going on with you guys. The ratings keep going down. I'm not going to lie. I forgot to watch it Sunday myself, but I still watched it Monday. But maybe that's because I review it. Anyway, I don't know why y'all not here for this season, but I feel like they're doing better. They're trying every week. But let's get into it and let's get shady. So we start off back at the dinner, and Ralph, or basically Sheree, lets the cat out the bag that Anthony is the person that told her that Ralph is doing outside things and lets him know that, no, he told me you were gay. Drew said Sheree is being messy, and Sonia basically tells Drew that your anger is directed at the wrong person and wrong place. And Anthony is the one that started it. Now, Sonia said that she, we already knew she was starting to feel some type of way towards Drew because she feel like she don't like how she moves, and is really, not sure she can rock with her.
My thing is this. I don't understand. Now, I could understand if Sheree was actually the one to bring it to the conversation.
Right.
Why you would feel like, okay, yes, he's the one that started the rumor, but you're being messy by carrying the bone, right?
Right.
But Sheree didn't even do that. It was the homegirl. Right. Sheree never brought it up, not once. She had a private conversation with Kenya about it because Kenya brought her some tea.
Right.
But, ma'am.
Drew does apologize for putting her hand in Sheree's face. Now, they high five, and I guess they're supposed to be good.
Ralph supposed to be a real high five.
Right. Ralph says that he's confused as to how his name got involved. And Sheree basically explains to him that Anthony doesn't just talk about you. He talks about a lot of people. And I think that was shade because I'm sure Anthony has probably shared more tea that he has heard between Sheree and Drew about the other girls. Or maybe he has. Apparently, he's just been messy. Apparently, he was on another show and he was messy. He was somebody's assistant. I don't know if it was Basketball Wives or something like that. And he was causing
a reality show.
Yeah. So apparently, this is something that Anthony does. So as much as tea as I would like from Anthony, I would never hire you as my assistant, sir.
You know what though? That's the look that Kandi gave. Remember when they first met? She was just like, okay. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you cool, but
right. Sheree addresses the fact that she feels some type of way that Kandi didn't just come to her and went to Marlo and Kenya about the information she was given from Drew. Mm-hmm. Now, Drew does admit, she's like, hold on, I gave that information to Kandi and asked her what I should do. And Kandi admits that she should have called Sheree first, and she apologizes. And I said,
like that. She was like, yeah, that's true. And they was like, what? Yeah, that's what taking accountability is.
Right. And basically. I was here for it. I loved it. I said, okay, Kandi, I love the grownness, right?
I feel like, didn't they say, Drew, that's how you do it?
They might have.
I feel like they was throwing shade at Drew. Like, right. Yeah, that's how you take accountability.
So Sheree says that Kandi's apology seems somewhat sincere. Mm-hmm. However, she feels like she didn't think about her feelings when she made her the talk of the town. And I said, well, you have points. And then we see poor Kenya. She's over there going through it. Her phone's going off. And Marlo is like, what is going on? And basically asks her if Mark is bothering her. And she steps out to get some air. Marlo walks out and follows her. And this is one thing that I can say that I'm noticing about this dynamic. As much as they're definitely frenemies.
I was just about to say that.
Frenemies. Because if I don't with you, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see you go through nothing, but I'm not going to overextend myself to try to come comfort you if I don't really rock with you like that.
Especially you shading me every chance you get. Well, they shade each other.
Right.
So
but
you would think
when they both need each other, how they can come together. Because as you saw how she was at Brooklyn's party, you know what I mean? I love it. I just wish they could keep this energy, because I feel like they would be better off being friendly than they would being enemies.
It's funny because you would think that someone who talks so much shade, like has so much shade about you, right? That you wouldn't necessarily know if it was genuine.
Right.
But it's like they don't even second guess it.
Right. And she opened up. I'm gonna be honest, even watching it, it feels genuine. It looks genuine to me.
Kenya opened up with no problem. Like she felt like it was genuine.
Then Kandi asked Sheree, like, do you know why Kenya walked out? So we see Kenya and Marlo talking. Kenya is upset because she dropped Brooklyn off with Mark, and now he's upset with her after he hasn't seen her in 3 months because he has to work.
And somehow it's Kenya's fault.
It's the gaslighting of it all. Kandi walks over to see what's going on. Marlo lets her know Mark is being an asshole. Kenya says at a certain point, you should let Mark reach out to get his daughter. And I love how, and I'm just going to say this. I understand things were different for Kandi because her baby dad, Riley's father, really did not want to be involved in her life. So it was easy for her to make that decision for her. However, I agree more with Kenya being the bigger person. And yes, he gets on my nerves and he's a pain in my ass, but that's her father. And that's where girls get their self-esteem from. So regardless of how I feel about him, she still needs to have a relationship with her father, even though he irritates the out of me. And I can appreciate her. I really appreciate her being a bigger person and being a better mother, regardless.
You know what, Treese?
What?
I felt that way until just the other day because really you don't know what type of love or affection, if any, that they're getting with their father. And really, if their father wanted to be around, they would be around and not wait 3 months until I come to New York to conveniently get your daughter. So just because he had her for a few hours doesn't mean that he wants to have her for a few hours. If he really wanted to spend time, he could fly to go get her or fly Kenya to him to make it happen. Mark makes money too. I know he wants Kenya's money, but he makes money too. He can make time. If you want something, you're gonna make time for it. Is that not?
Hey, we always say that, Chase Squad. We do.
So and just because they're spending time together does not mean that he's giving her the love and affection that she deserves as a little girl and what she's going to carry for the rest of her life to make good decisions about men. That does not just because it's her daddy.
Well, ain't that a word from Nails?
But I understand why she feels that way because she had a great father.
Right.
She had a great father. So I understand why she feels that way, but not every man is built the same.
Right. I get it. Well, if you have not already, because I forgot to say it in the beginning, please make sure that you hit that like button.
And you subscribe.
Yeah.
Kenya comes back to the table and joins everyone. And Sonia want to know, where is Tyrone? Okay. So she's asking Sheree, where your boo at? And she says, he submitted the request and he's supposed to be able to leave up to 100 miles. But
apparently that didn't work out.
So Marlo tells Kandi, we're off to a great start because there were some real issues resolved here. I said, you know what? You're right, because everybody here I'm surprised they was all able to sit at that goddamn table together.
Right.
And Marlo says, Marlo felt like she was a therapist. Okay. She was telling people that they need to focus on each other more and listen to each other more and fuck each other more and to make it a priority. And yeah, she told Kandi, look, maybe you fucking too much.
No, actually,
you're giving the illusion. Yeah, actually, you're giving the illusion that you're fucking too much because Todd is complaining that you ain't putting it down in the bedroom like you used to. And Kandi says, well, why don't you start fucking? How about you get out my goddamn coochie and you start fucking with your own shit, okay? And she tells her one thing about it. Kandi don't play about her jobs. And if she got to bust it open, she just need to go on and get some red lipstick. I think Marlo just wanted to leave that conversation and did not want to get into the shade with Miss Kandi. Okay. She asked everyone if they all have Cashapp, because she will be sending them an invoice to their Cashapp numbers for her therapy. She said she's gonna charge $500 a couple and $200. I think it was just for Kenya. Was it just for Kenya? I think, yeah, just for Kenya, $200. But everybody else is getting charged for her therapy session.
Kandi goes to check in with the producers of the play. I do believe his name was Brian, and the other guy's name was Brooklyn, who's in merchandising.
Well, we're gonna go with that.
You funny. We learned her ticket sales are up. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. They said that play brought everybody back to New York.
Right? Everybody from Atlanta and Texas, where their highest ticket sales are coming from. Then we see they cut to Sonia and Kenya, and they are going for a stroll. And she explains how New York is super special to her and Ross because that's where he won a Super Bowl. She says that there's a lot of things that she loves about her husband, but that night when he won the Super Bowl, she said it went down.
Do you remember that?
Of course I do.
So you knew he was on the Giants?
Not before she said it, but still, of course I remember the Super Bowl win. I mean, come on.
No, I meant with him being on it, Gina.
Oh, no, not really. Not really. It wasn't like his name was Odell Beckham or anything. Just no shade to him. I mean, he's a Giant. I'm just saying. So Kenya tells her that basically, so you guys are a cute little sports power couple. Mm-hmm. And then she asks basically Kenya about Mark. And basically Kenya says he always tries to make her feel like she's doing something wrong all the time. Agreed. She said the whole situation with the gaslighting and the situation with Drew just reminded her of Mark, but she does feel like she went in a little rough on Ralph. I'm like, who is this Kenya? I'm telling y'all, Kenya's in therapy, y'all. Kenya's in therapy.
No, I know Sonia said it couldn't have been me.
Right.
I'd have been on that ass. You don't talk to my husband like that, bitch.
Okay, so Sonia goes on to talk about how she's not sure about her friendship with Drew. She doesn't like how she moves in certain situations, i.e. the situation with Sheree, and feels like she should have immediately fired her assistant. She brings her drop. Okay, Sonia, I'm gonna have to check you, boo. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, sometimes I question up here with Drew. All the apples ain't on the tree. But what you're doing, but now you don't like the way she moved. But what do you think you're doing right now with Kenya? I'm just saying. Anyway.
Going to tell everybody your business, but the person it's about.
But the person that it's about. So she brings up the Dropping It with Drew program and how she talks about how she helped thousands of people lose thousands of pounds. And then she says that she really, after talking to Drew about it, I think she said a few times, at least over 3 times, she still doesn't know what it is. I think we're all wondering that. So you're not alone in that, Sonia. I'll give you that.
Kenya says she want to know how she going to help people lose weight when you have a surgeon cut your stomach off.
Right. Kenya also says that both her and Ralph are similar, where they don't give straight answers. I said, okay, Kenya.
Sheree and Kandi are on FaceTime. And of course, like everybody else, Kandi want to know, where is Tyrone? And she said she'll have to talk to her about it in person. It ain't sounding too good. Sheree says he's allowed to travel 100 miles, but because they were right under 100, he didn't want to chance it. Now, Kandi think he was some other woman.
Okay.
And I think so too. Because I feel like the only reason why you would do that is if you were like living with another woman and you can't leave.
Ooh. Okay.
And she says he does that, like, he does want to come back for, like a matinee or something, and they'll just have to do that some other time. Everyone goes out before the show. Marlo passes Kenya her jacket, and she said, "Don't ask me for shit else." Okay. But she does realize styling other people has made her a humble person by serving people.
Okay, acts of service. Go ahead, Marlo.
That's what she said. And apparently Marlo has done some TV and film. We also find out that Jazzy Faye is her ex-boo. Now, they cut that scene out when she was over there with Kandi, because Jazzy Faye came in. But, you know, in true Marlo fashion, Marlo said, I ain't about to be the side chick. I ain't about to be no quiet hush-hush chick. So you can go on about your business.
Because apparently
she sent him on his way. Apparently he had a girlfriend that was keeping Miss Marlo under wraps. Okay. So Kenya asked Kandi who's the most famous person, you know, that's ever hit on her. And apparently Kandi was dating Gerald Levert. Okay, we saw the picture. She said they even got a song that's saved on her hard drive that she ain't never released. Says she was on Melrose at a restaurant when a certain king of the NBA sent her over a drink. Now, apparently this is supposed to be LeBron.
And apparently this happened before she was married.
Now, she's talking about he was flying her back and forth to games and all types of stuff.
Before the games.
For one, it's giving fangirl. Okay. And for two, it's giving liar. I wouldn't give a fuck if it was true. I don't believe it.
And Kenya says in a confession, she must be talking about Laquan, because she is definitely not talking about LeBron.
Maybe she's talking about the prince of NBA. Okay, not the king. Okay. And Kenya says hers is Prince. And Drew clearly don't believe her. Okay, she said she would love to read this memoir of Kenya because she knows it's full of fiction.
Right. And then Marlo apparently says she was hit on by Gene Simmons, which we all know is much older than her, 30 years to be exact. But we all know is from Kiss.
But Kandi said it's kidding.
I mean, that's not my cup of tea. You like it, I love it. If that did something for your soul, and as Kandi said, it's what she's used to. It's an old white man.
Now, Marlo want to talk about somebody real. Where is Tyrone?
Marlo's such an. Where is Tyrone?
And Sheree says he just couldn't make it. And Sheree says he gonna see y'all another time. And I believe it was Kenya that tried to, dig a little deeper. And she was just like, she just can't make it. I was like, Drew, we sticking up for her now. Okay. So Sheree does say she is going to see him tomorrow in Philly. And Sheree really don't feel like she need to explain nothing to none of these bitches. Okay. She feel like they need to simmer down.
So Kandi is giving the ladies, and this may be the reason why the ratings were down. This is, I always got my ear to the streets. So apparently Kandi is handing out or giving ladies the instructions on how to use their vibrating panties, which I want some. That's all I want to say. Anyway, now Marlo gets on the bus and acts like her panties are going off. Kandi that says she's faking it in the confectional must be good at faking it because she likes to mess with it.
She used to that.
Everyone has theirs on except Sheree and Marlo. Sonya's then starts to go off, and we learn that the remote can control more than one set of panties
as long as it's close.
And I think
that's weird.
It is weird, and I think some of the viewers were grossed out by the fact that everybody knows Kandi embraces her open, sexuality and whatever. But I can kind of agree with Kenya when you got vibrating panties around someone else's husband,
And I think that she was trying to make it a game where you switch the remote, so somebody else is like turning somebody else on.
All I'm gonna say is the street said it was giving orgy, and I don't think everybody was there for that. So
feel like it was like the right type of event.
Right. And especially when you're going, she said they didn't wear it during the play, but even still, it's.
But whatever. I mean, even the whole trip, it's like a Broadway play. You guys are going to see a Broadway play. Like, it's like a classy trip, not like
it's a classy, sophisticated.
It's not like a bachelorette party or something.
Or not even that. If you were going to do that, then maybe it should have been only couples. If you were going to do something like that, like, I don't think that you bring single women. And even that would have been weird. That's what I'm saying.
Still weird.
That's still would have been weird. But anyway,
I don't give a damn if the bitch next to me is married and me and my husband is married. I don't want you vibrating and your coochie, you getting turned on and shit while my husband's sitting here next to me.
That's facts. So anyway, yeah, Sonya's going off, and we learned that more than one remote can control someone else's set of panties. So then they're stuck in traffic, and which is going to cause them to be late. So they get out and they decide they're just going to walk the couple blocks, which is supposed to be like 7 minutes, to get to the show on time. Marlo is not here for the walking, but she goes and gets one of them little electric bites, and I loved it. I was like, yes, Marlo. What?
I could see that being me.
You,
especially if I had on heels, like 7-minute walk with heels. No, she ain't doing it. I try to call myself an Uber. Oh, I guess. You can. They're in New York. Yeah. It was over and everyone loved it. Okay?
They're raving about how good thoughts of a colored man.
Andy, it made me want to see it.
Is it thoughts of a colored man or a black man?
Black man.
Okay.
Oh no. It's thoughts of a colored man.
Okay, that's
and Kandi explains that it's about 7 different black men who represent 7 different emotions. And you can see all of their perspectives. Apparently, now according to Kenya, she says this is what black men should be, and it was well represented on stage. She's very proud. She said this is what they could be and what they should be, and it was well represented. Apparently, it was amazing. Trace, we're gonna need to go see it.
Yeah, no, and they said it was good. And then they go to the pajama, or they're going to have a pajama jammy jam. Look, first she gave him the panties, now she's trying to get them in their pajamas. That's all I'm saying. So they let them know to go relax, change your clothes. Sheree is talking to Kenya about how the remotes work into the drawers. And she's like, well, I'm happy I didn't wear them. And Kenya's just floored. And she's like, when did I show up for eyes wide shut situation? When did this happen? So then they get into, they start talking about where Ralph is from. And Marlo says that the whole relationship with Drew and Ralph is just weird. They talk about dropping it with Drew. They all have questions as far as what the scheme is, and being that she went and got surgery herself. So
Kenya swears it is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
She's convinced.
So Sheree is like, well, how can you tell other people how to work out when you didn't? I said, well, the shade of it all. They try to go pull up her website and it says the page will not load. Then Marlo says, well, at least Le Archive works. Kenya says you can go to Kenya Moore Hair Care and it will be delivered to your door. And Sheree says once She by Sheree is launched, you can get it spring, summer, or September. I said, but we need you to launch first. And then of course they joke about, as Nell said, this whole shit being a Ponzi scheme. So then Kandi and Todd, Andrew and Ralph arrive. And then basically Kenya does take the opportunity to apologize to Ralph for being a little hard on him the last time they were all together. Ralph appreciates the apology and says that sometimes he feels he can be misunderstood. Todd then takes the fellas away and it's just the ladies. This is where I was confused and I did not understand this is where you lost me, Sonia. You had me and then you lost me.
You didn't only lose you, girl.
Because I just feel like now you're just doing it for the show.
I think that's where Drew was going.
So Sonia then takes the opportunity to tell Drew that she's been wanting to talk to her and decided that this was the perfect opportunity to do so. she lets Drew know she had a conversation with Kenya earlier that day. So I can appreciate you for being honest that you were talking about her, and shared that she felt there were times where Drew expected her to speak up on her behalf. However, she did not agree with Drew's actions. Basically, we know her putting her hand in Sheree's face. Drew looks confused.
For one, because Drew looked like she didn't say anything about needing you to take up for me. So she's like,
and Sonya says, "Let me help you understand." I said,
no. She said, "I'm gonna make you understand."
Oh yeah, she said, "I'm gonna make you understand."
And look, everybody was like,
right. So everybody's taken aback and wonder, and then Drew is like, "Well, I just don't understand why we couldn't have had this conversation when you came to my room to get your makeup done."
Exactly, because you were trying to talk to me though, but you were just upstairs. Now Sonya says in the confessional that there was a bunch of people upstairs. You know, she comes with the entourage, like she's Beyonce. But I would have felt like it would have been more appropriate to speak in front of those people
than these people.
Right.
And yeah, she feels like it was an inappropriate time to bring up their issues in front of her entourage of 86 people. I believe she said that were in her room. There were a lot of people. As she's trying to go deeper and explain more, everybody seems confused. Marlo, Kandi, everybody's just like, what are you talking about?
She said, she's like, if you know, I want to rock with you, and you know, when I have a friend, I rock with them, but I can't really rock with you because, you know, I don't really agree with what you're doing.
She lost me, y'all. And I mean, you know what? Drop down in the comments. Let us know if we missed something. Like
Drew was like,
understand what she was trying to say, because I had the same face that everybody else in the room had. I was like, what?
Drew was like, I mean, you could have talked to me when I was in the car and I came to pick your ass up when you got in that accident.
Right.
I said, Drew, let me tell you something. The way she slid that in there, like, basically, bitch, I had your back. And you could have talked to me then. Like, she just killed two birds with one stone.
And that's what I was going to say, because the thing about it is, you feel this way, but Drew never put that on you. Drew never said anything to you about you didn't have her back, where she felt like you put that on.
I think that's initially why Drew was making the faces, like,
right, because that's one thing I can give her. Drew is pretty good for sticking up for her damn self. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure where Sonya was coming from, and like I said, I don't know if it was just to create as this is a part of her storyline, but it just didn't.
You know, sometimes they feed you storylines.
Right. Marlo breaks up the tension by saying, well, let me tell you what kind of issue
Kenya has.
Right.
And Kenya like, me?
Me? What issue do I have?
She was like, yeah, she tried to sign up for your weight loss program.
Marlo is so shit.
And let me tell you something. I felt so bad for Drew because, of course, Marlo was being a shady ass. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh my God, really?
Thank you.
Lady. No. They weren't. And Marlo's like, yeah, but shit didn't work.
Drew,
your website didn't work.
Oh, the site is crashed.
She was like, oh, because it was so many people. I said, damn it. So Marlo want to know, she goes, okay, so is dropping with Drew like to maintain surgeries? God damn. Drew was like, no, like it's for your health. And you know, she goes on and on about her weight loss plan, and really still nobody understands. She talks about the meal plan, the workouts, and Kenya is still sure that it is a Ponzi scheme. Now, Sheree's boo calls her back in the midst of all this crap going on. And, you know, they change the subject. Tyrone tells the ladies that, you know, he wants to meet them. He can't wait to meet them. And, you know, he's trying to get down there to Atlanta and probably out of the house with the bitch he's staying with. Sheree says that her and Tyrone spoke this morning and she's supposed to meet him at a restaurant in Philly before she heads back to Atlanta. So Sheree is in Philly. Well, okay, let me just say she traveled like an hour and 40 minutes from New York to Philly so that she can meet him, You know, she looked like she dozing off the car. It's a nice little drive. So when she gets there, she's waiting outside in the cold, okay, by a heat lamp. Apparently, she didn't realize it was that cold. And she's waiting for her boyfriend, who she can't get in touch with now, that she talked to this morning. And
this is a perfect time.
At this point, he's 20 minutes. Oh, she tried. She tried. He's 20 minutes late.
Answer the phone.
She calls her daughter and she asks her daughter, what does it mean when you call someone and the phone rings and then it goes to busy? And I think her daughter was trying or starting to tell her something, but I don't know. The call got disconnected.
No, she was trying to tell her that usually means that you're blocked. She said when it rings, because she was like, what does that mean? And she was like, when the phone rings and then it goes to busy, and she lets her know that probably means you're blocked.
It goes straight to voicemail when you're blocked. Okay. Well, she says she doesn't want to think the worst, but she's starting to think the worst. Okay. Now, after an hour and a half, y'all, that 20 minutes turned into an hour and a half.
Sheree waiting for somebody that long.
Just waiting in the cold, mind you. Okay, outside in the cold, talking about everybody coming, but Tyrone. Okay. Now, after an hour and a half of waiting, production finally comes up to Sheree and tells her Tyrone's attorney is on the phone and he's unable to make it because it's a parole violation. Don't that sound suspicious?
And don't you think he would have known that before the day of he was supposed to meet you? And you're coming to him. It's not like he's even coming to you.
That's why it sounds suspicious. Okay. Clearly that bitch wouldn't let him out the house.
Sheree doesn't believe it and doesn't understand why he would let her come this far if he knew that basically he couldn't film. So I think maybe it's something about that. Him on camera. I think it might have something to do with that. But that's why she was like, he knew what I was coming to do. He knows I'm coming with a camera crew. So why wouldn't he have said that? And I was like, that's true.
Oh, is that what it was? Mm-hmm. She picks up the phone. She calls Kenya and she tells her, that she's been there for almost 2 hours with no Tyrone, and explains to Kenya that it's a parole violation. And, Kenya, is consoling her, being super supportive. And let me tell you something. Teresa's a cold-hearted ass. Okay, clearly now.
Stone-blooded.
She's stone-blooded. But Sheree broke down and started crying. Now, I know in previous seasons, Sheree, even this season, Sheree seems like a hard ass.
Right.
She don't never really get emotional, and she's had shit to get emotional about. She just doesn't. This broke her down crying. And let me say something, whatever the reason was, I almost cried with her.
I think it was pride. Don't get me wrong, I felt bad for her, but I told Nels, I said, I think if it was off camera and it wasn't as embarrassing for her after talking to these ladies, waiting for this man to get out of jail for months, possible years, she was embarrassed. And I just think that because she was, and Sheree looks to me like she's very prideful, as she's still talking about She by Sheree and still ain't came out. Like, she doesn't like to admit defeat. So I think for her, the fact that it happened on camera and she had to accept defeat, she didn't have a chance to behind the scenes try to change the narrative. I think that's what broke her down and made her cry. Just me personally.
So Kenya tells her, don't call him again. Hold your head up high and
take your little sexy self through the airport.
Yes, because she was looking cute. She was looking cute.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another review of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Please make sure that you watch the episode this coming Sunday. I'm just messing with y'all. Y'all can just watch the review and we'll break it down for you. But please make sure that you like, comment, you subscribe,
and hit the notification bell.
And we will catch you next week because somebody got to report back to work. So we will catch you next week with our review of the next episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. You guys have a good night. And as always, thank you so much for the support, Shade Squad.
Yes, thank you. Mwah. Good night.
Front.
back, side to side. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Front, back, side to side. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Hey.